Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel called Zuzanareacts, where I learn all things parallel with your help, and I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. In today's video, I'm actually quite excited because it's a topic about like why Indians like or prefer France over the US and what is the history behind that. And obviously you had Macron on the 26th of Jan, the US was invited but declined. So I'm actually quite curious to see what the kind of dichotomy the relationships are. But before we jump into today's video,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
okay, I say let's do it.
And through India tell the world that if you do not listen to the United States of America, they will be crushed. India has just said one thing to the US. We are willing to do everything that we control for our friendship. But if you think we are going to barter because you are giving us technology, that is not going to happen. Now, all these things, over a period of time, actually telling the Americans there is a sense of, strategic sovereignty that India practices. Gen friends, I'm Major Godavari and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Friends, you all know about Nikhil Gupta, the man the US accuses of trying to kill Gurpatan Singh Pannu, who's a US come Canadian citizen. Now, so the story is like this, as per the Americans. Now, this is what the Americans say, that Nikhil Gupta was paying money to somebody to kill Gurpatan Singh Pannu, and that somebody was an undercover agent of the Americans. So then there was apparently this video call in which people from the Indian government were sitting, etc., etc. Some story that the Americans have cooked up, and they said that no, he's the guy. Nikhil Gupta is the guy who's trying to kill Gurpatan Singh Pannu. Now, forget about this story. It will happen in a court of law, and I'll deal with that later. But for now, I want to tell you the background, and it's very important, especially for the NRIs who are there. And you can be from US or UK or any other country, but it's important that you know the background, and it's important that you know this analysis. The Americans and this entire story of Nikhil Gupta was brought forward in front of the world recently after the G20 summit, right? It was broken on the media after the G20 summit. The thing is that the Americans had this quote unquote information. I'm not saying they have genuine information. I'm saying this quote unquote story. It predates the G20 summit. And the Americans had this entire thing in place at least 4 or 5 months before G20 took place. So this is an entire carrot and stick approach, ladies and gentlemen, and the NRIs must understand this. I would request all the NRIs to watch this video till the end and understand the games that are being played. This is a carrot and stick approach of the United States of America, and this is why India does not trust the US. And believe you me, we trust the French. We even, heaven forbid, trust the English, but we do not trust the Americans. I'm not talking about the American people. I'm talking about the government of the United States of America. It's not a trustworthy government. It has let down all its allies, with the exception of UK. Currently, it's in the process of letting down Israel. All right. I'll come to that later if we have the time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what happened was that America had the story placed. So this, the government of India has, quote unquote, decided to kill Pannu, and the government of India, so the Americans say, have decided to hire a guy called Nikhil Gupta who will pay money to X, who will pay money to Y, and that Y and go kill this guy, Gurpatan Singh Pannu, somewhere in the US. That was the story. They kept the story in the deep freeze. And in between, they tried everything. So what is the carrot and stick approach? What America is trying to tell India, and through India tell the world, that if you do not listen to the United States of America, there will be a price to pay. If you do not listen to the United States of America, you're going to be in hot water. What the Americans don't realize is that they no longer have that kind of power. And even when they did,
It's true.
India did not kowtow to anybody. Today, we have money, enough money for our needs. I'm not saying we are a rich country and we can sign trillion-dollar checks. Of course we cannot. But we have enough money for our needs, and plus some.
But it's important to also add that American people are just so unhappy with like the $1 trillion checks being sent. We all know where. Wow.
The problem with the US is that the US is essentially, and I'm talking from a foreign policy perspective, essentially a bully. Their tactics are ham-handed, and they do not know how to deal with nations. They think they can steamroll. The problem is there is India standing in front. You can't steamroll India. You can be the United States, of America, you can be the People's Republic of China, and you can be 10 other nations all rolled into one, and you can't steamroll India. Try once. So, ladies and gentlemen, what America is trying is this.
Just say, I love him. Try it. Just try it. I'll come after you. I'll get you.
Trying to pressurize India. The first thing that the Americans felt upset about was, hey, India is not taking an unequivocal stand against the Russians in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The Americans didn't like that. The Americans expected, because the Americans said, hey, we are doing this for you, we are doing this for you. There have been a lot of carrots given, and we've spoken about the GE engine, and we've spoken about the General Atomic drones, and we have spoken about this and that, and so much more. You better listen to us. India said no. We did not toe the American line when it was the peak of the Russia-Ukraine war. We just didn't. Number two, the Americans were literally breathing down our necks saying that you cannot buy oil from the Russians. You can't do that. They've violated international treaties, and they've violated international norms, and they've invaded Ukraine. Well, I, as an Indian citizen, feel that the Russian invasion of Ukraine was wrong. But I also know that the Russians were pushed into a corner. There isn't much that they could have done. They were pushed into a corner.
By the way, what I'm going to do is to link you guys a very interesting video. It's on the Tucker Carlson interview with Putin, as discussed by Russell Branson. No, what's his name? Russell. Yeah. How can I just don't remember? Russell Brand. Anyway, you'll see. What's that one? It's very interesting, because I think for most people, you guys think that we are really stupid here. We don't know what's happening, which is quite not true. So I'll recommend you to watch that one. I'll link it in the video.
No. Did India condemn the Russian invasion? No. India called for peace. India said this is not an era for war. There should be no war. And I think that was the decent stand to take, and India took that stand. America did not like it. The US was almost, every single day calling up people in the Ministry of External Affairs, calling up senior people in India, saying that, no, India must not proceed with the S-400 missiles. You can't buy those missiles from the Russians. We will give you state-of-the-art missiles. Take it from us. Don't. You need to isolate Russia. Not because they wanted to sell their missiles to us. No, that was not the case. They wanted to isolate Russia. And India has a big voice in Asia. In the world, actually. Why only Asia? Isolate, isolate, isolate. The Americans tried everything. Long before, the Americans had told the Indians, do not buy oil from Iran. And the Indians went ahead and bought oil from Iran. Now, all these things, over a period of time, started actually telling the Americans that there is a sense of, strategic sovereignty that India practices. You can't force India into taking a certain position just because you like that position or you want that position to be taken. And India also communicated to the entire world that this is India, this is not Pakistan. But you give $20 and they do whatever you want. No, this is India. India will do exactly what it wants. And you can keep your F-16s, and you can keep your GE engines, and you can keep your drones, and you can keep whatever you wish with you. If you don't want to give it to us, anyway, you're not handing it to us like you have done for the Pakistanis. We're paying you hard cash. We're paying you dollars. And if you think that you can delay the GE engines, we'll get saffron from France. That's all right. That's all right. One more thing. There are two things that happened, and I would like to explain this strategically. You know about the AUKUS, right? Because of consistent US pressure and US meddling, the deal between France and Australia is part of the AUKUS, and Australia is also part of the Five Eyes that intelligence set up, all right? What happened was that the deal, the submarine deal, there was a nuclear submarine deal that was to happen, and it was almost agreed upon. Everything was agreed upon between France, and France was to supply those submarines to the Australians. That deal collapsed. France was absolutely livid. It was absolutely livid. And today, we see that there are cracks in the AUKUS alliance. And today, that presents an opportunity to India. I've said it so many times. So, ladies and gentlemen, I spoke to a few NRIs from the US, and they were at pains to explain to me that, US is a wonderful country, and the people are lovely, and it's such a great country, such a free country, the greatest country on earth. I'll reserve my judgment on that, but...
I love this guy. I reserve my judgment on that. The thing is, what he's what he's saying, that the cracks are showing, and I think if you watch that the video from Russell Brand, you will see that through discovery of internet, Americans may not realize that they are the greatest country in the world, and obviously poor people, right? But it's all the government, what the government does, and it's a huge, country as well. And I think there is a slow discovery that perhaps America isn't really the greatest country. Like we have, I mean, there is a hardcore capitalism over there. For example, here in Europe, at least in Slovakia, we have something called social democracy, like where you're not gonna let people die just because they don't have money. There is a social system in place, which is what America, the greatest country in the world, was trying to do with Barack Obama and stuff, and kind of did not succeed. So yeah, I reserve my judgment as this man. I love him.
And I agree with them, except for the greatest country on earth nonsense. I agree with them. It's a lovely country. It's a beautiful country. Great people.
Everywhere.
Nothing against the United States of America. My own sister, my elder sister, lives in the US, though I've never visited the US in my life. My problem has never been with the American people. Never. My problem is with the American government.
Exactly.
And the way they conduct their foreign policy. That's absolutely wrong. So what happened here was that America tried to isolate France. Now, India comes in between, and India and France are old friends. And India and France have gotten together like a house on fire for a very long time when India conducted the Pokhran tests, right? It was France that said we support India. And this partnership, this friendship goes back decades. So it's not something that is new. So there are 3-4 things that have happened, which I'm trying to analyze for you. Number one, this whole Nikhil Gupta episode, that maybe somebody in India is trying to knock off Gurpatan Singh Pannu. America had this entire ball of wax in a deep freeze for a very long time, at least 4 to 5 months before the G20 summit. They said nothing in the G20 summit, and they said, hey, we facilitated much of the G20 in terms of people coming there. Otherwise, India did G20 on its own. But America said, hey, here is something that we'll give you as a gesture of friendship. America doesn't care if Pannu is killed tomorrow. Please understand, a lot of people are saying that, hey, because of Pannu, Joe Biden did not come to the Republic Day. I'm sorry, that's not true. They don't care if Pannu dies today or tomorrow. They don't care about Pannu. Pannu is not like a senator or a congressman, and even if he was, and if it suited American interests, they would knock off the senator and the congressman. They don't care. Americans don't care. They only care about profit, their own profit, their foreign policy. So anybody who thinks that, hey, Joe Biden said no to the Republic Day because this entire episode regarding Gurpatan Singh Pannu, nothing could be further from the truth. The Americans don't care. Now, so what happened? Why did Joe Biden say no? Joe Biden said no simply because he said there are previous political commitments and this and that, and Trump on the rise, Biden on all that is true, but this was also to express displeasure towards India. That, hey, listen, we helped you out in G20. We said okay to the GE engines. We said okay to 32 drones that you wanted to buy from General Atomics. We said okay to this. We said okay to that. We have said okay to everything. We do everything for you, but when it comes to you doing something, you don't do anything. So India has just said one thing to the United States. We are willing to do everything that we control for our friendship. But if you think we are going to barter our sovereignty just because you are giving us technology, that is not going to happen. We don't want your technology in that case. This put off America very badly. Now coming to the French president's visit to India. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what happened after G20. People were saying that Joe Biden will come for the Republic Day. It was pretty much understood that Joe Biden will come. And the Americans had also said that, yeah, the president is coming for the Republic Day. Then the Americans said that, hey, he was in India for the G20, it doesn't make sense for the US president to go back to India so soon. Number one. Number two, there is the Iowa primary, or elections are happening. Then there was rumor mongering regarding Hunter Biden, and Hunter Biden being, accused of criminal offenses like tax evasion, etc. That was number three. So all this started happening.
And the tax evasion would be the minor of the crimes. I mean, but the Hunter Biden goes on for years. I've been actually closely following that one. It's somehow miraculously, when it comes to the Bidens, nothing is in the press, nothing is being revealed. Only, yeah, it's very interesting how the world operates.
And that atmosphere started being built. And one fine day, Joe Biden says he's not able to come. So we contacted the president of France, and he said, I'll be happy to come. Anything for India. Yeah. And he came there. And the protocol that the French president was given, he landed up in Jaipur. And when was the last time, Prime Minister Modi did a massive roadshow like this? The last time he did a massive roadshow was with Xi Jinping.
Oh.
He's also done public appearances with a lot of head of state. But you remember when Donald Trump came? All through the streets of Ahmedabad, kids waving, and Donald Trump driving down the street. This happened for such top-level people, like, for example, Xi Jinping, or for example, Donald Trump. Prime Minister Modi did it for the French president. This was also India telling the world that we have France. We don't need America giving dictations to India. We will not take dictation from the United States of America, and we are strategically sovereign. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was the entire thing that happened. I thought I'll tell you why the Indians are treating the French president's visit with such a lot of importance. France is important. France is a friendly country. France is a close ally. But also, deep down, I do not think, and this is my personal analysis, because I think like this, so I think that even the Indian establishment would think like that. I don't think that the Indian establishment or the national security establishment or the foreign office establishment actually trusts the United States of America. There's a massive trust deficit.
Okay, so very interesting video. The thing is, I wonder if anyone believes in the United States of America government, to be fair. I don't know. I feel like the world is really going to a very big cathartic phase where it needs to cleanse itself of things. Yeah, I never quite ever understood the relationship between India and France. But it's interesting that it does take decades, and and it was interesting to see that the prime minister just simply came. I don't know. Obviously, I don't really watch politics, so I can't really comment on this. But the thing is that, I don't know, the European Union, as I said, it was the US project. And therefore, I am sure a lot is financed and dependent on what the US wants they do in Europe. I'm not too sure to pivot to the relationship between the US and France when it comes to that matter. So it surprises me that the US would even allow French, but the French are a very peculiar nation in themselves, have a very interesting characters. So yeah, and then they're big. So perhaps, I mean, the thing is, like, obviously Slovakia is just such a small nation. We're bound to be ruled by others and be exploited by others, because we give you money for development, and then it's given to the people that are most corrupt, so it never gets to people, so the country can never develop, and it perpetuates the cycle, which is sad, but it's the reality, right? But I guess the bigger nations have maybe a higher manipulating power when it comes to what I want to do. But yeah, I mean, it's nice, and I think that it's good to see. One thing that really struck me at the start was we must see India rise, like the US power and the dynamics since the India rising is just really rebalancing the world powers, and you can clearly see the American system crumbling down. It's bound to do so. And let's say if the next term Mr. T is going to win the election, I think that the US is going to refocus on rebuilding their own economy instead of being expansionist. I feel like he has different ideas of America than, let's say, the liberal government right now. So it could be very interesting power dynamics that we could observe, but their powerhouse is crumbling. And I quite like what he said, that that you guys are not going to budge when it comes to your sovereignty. I like that. I think we need a strong player on the world stage that is going to balance this. And I think that the world will ultimately benefit that. So I say, go India, go. I'm here to support. But great video. Thank you guys so much for watching with me. Let me know what you have thought about this video in the comments. I'm very, very always curious to hear your thoughts. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please hit thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending much love. Bye-bye.